So I swear, I thought "same old Moses" was a like a slang, a euphemism or something. I thought it was a saying, but anytime I Google it and I try to look it up, my little theory is shot to shit.
I feel like I've heard that term, same old Moses, but...
Yeah. I don't know. I Google it, and I look it up, and I try to figure it out, but nope. It does sound familiar, though. It sounds very familiar. It sounds like I should know what it means. But I don't. Whatevs.
Whatever.
When I pulled in to Savor the Burn Studios, I cussed. I cussed pretty hard because I totally forgot that box of 4 roses that I was telling you about earlier this week. See, it comes with little ice molds that are shaped like roses.
Oh, cool.
And they're, on the picture anyway, the cocktail that they had in there was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, it would be great to have these on the show, on the podcast at some point.
Heck yeah.
You know, because I'll bring it over, we'll do a tasting, maybe have a cocktail with it, and see what's what.
Yeah.
Looks like we got some podcasting to do.
We should do it.
Let's get into it. Welcome, dear listener, to the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan. Across the table from me is Mr. W2. I was trying to think up a nickname all of a sudden. It just dawned on me that I didn't even think of a nickname on the way over. Awesome. I'll have to work on that. Anyway. Hello, Mr. W2. How do you do?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing pretty good myself. Doing pretty good. You know, all things considered.
Yeah.
Seems like my world's falling apart. Everything's on fire, but whatever. It's the weekend is a state of mind. If you just stay checked out up here in your noggin, everything's cool. Everything's fine. I still don't know where the hell they got this name. Tonight, we're trying the Same Old Moses straight bourbon whiskey. And I got this when I was in Oklahoma a few months ago, and we're pretty excited to be able to actually try it tonight. We're doing, I got 2 bottles. So tonight, we're going to do a couple of offerings from Same Old Moses distillery out of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Like I said, I picked these up when I was down in Tulsa, looking for a local whiskey, a local distillery, a local anything, you know. And Guthrie's not exactly local to Tulsa, but I thought, fuck it, it's close enough. I can't find anything in Tulsa, but even though they had stuff, we were kind of in a hurry to get the hell back home. So we stopped by a liquor store, and I dug around, and I asked the lady, I'm like, hey, what do we got? What's going on? And she's like, well, we got this. Same Old Moses. And I picked up a couple of bottles, the straight bourbon whiskey and the straight bourbon whiskey finished in ruby port casks.
Yeah, what I think is kind of interesting, for whatever reason, the port cask version is 101 proof versus the regular straight bourbon whiskey is just 100.
I wonder how that happened.
So, you know.
And I thought it was the Same Old Moses distillery. It's not. Wanderfolk.
Wanderfolk.
Or is it Vonderfolk? Yeah.
It looked like, I didn't spend a whole lot of time on the website looking at what else they had, but they had a couple other offerings.
Oh, okay.
So, Same Old Moses was one of the brands under that distillery.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, what else can you tell me about it?
Well, both of these are aged 4 years. They are categorized as bourbon, straight bourbon whiskey to be specific. And this first one is aged 4 years in original new American oak, then finished an additional year in a secondary new American oak barrel with a lower toast and char level.
All right.
I think that's interesting too, because the rules and regulations and all that kind of govern this stuff, they have to age this at 4 years, because that is how long it's in the original barrel. The whatever aging time after they take it out of that first barrel does not count. In this case, they're putting it in a brand new second American oak barrel for an entire year longer. Another new American oak barrel with a lower toast and char level on it, but still another new barrel. It's not like they're finishing it in a already used bourbon barrel or a wine barrel or whatever.
Yeah, not this one.
It's another new barrel for a whole nother year. You know, a lot of the finishes on some of these bourbons are only 3 months or 6 months. Here, they're aging it for an entire year longer, but that does not count in the age of the whiskey because it was only in that first cask for 4 years. So I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, definitely. That's not how I thought it would have been calculated as far as aging goes.
I mean,
So this is a 5-year bourbon,
yeah. I mean,
but it's just classified.
I guess I get it, and
It's 4.
I understand it if you're putting it in a rum barrel or a wine barrel or a port barrel for 3 more months and then calling good. I get that, but if they're putting it in another brand new barrel and leaving it in there for a whole another year,
Yeah.
I wonder why that can't. Why doesn't that count? I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe it's an Oklahoma bourbon thing. Who knows? Who knows? But it's also 4 grain, and we talked about 4 grain bourbons before. So I'm guessing it's got corn, rye, barley,
and
wheat. Yeah, wheat. Cool Whip. And Cool Whip. And the other one that we're trying tonight, Same Old Moses straight bourbon whiskey finished in ruby port casks. So this one was, aged 4 years in new American oak, then finished in additional 14 months in seasoned ruby port casks.
Yeah.
So ruby port, I'm guessing, is red. Sounds, red to me. I saw red. Little Sublime for you. But that's aged even longer than the
It is. 14 months.
Versus 12. So I'm looking forward to these. Which one do you want to start with?
I thought it made sense to start with the regular one.
I like it. Let's do it.
And then we'll move on to the kind of, okay, this is what it tastes like by itself.
Yeah, and then try it.
Yep.
Right after the next one right after.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I'm a foot away from it and I can smell it. And this all started with a guy in the late 1800s trying to start a business. Like he went from a grocery store to a bar, a saloon.
It says here in 1889, a Kansas grocer made his way to the newly opened Oklahoma Territory to seek his fortune.
Okay.
Moses had endured a challenging life, but never left hardships halt his unwavering drive for better opportunities. He found those opportunities in establishing the first legal saloon in the territory roughly 100 yards from the distillery that crafted the whiskey named in his tireless pursuit honored today. That saloon was Same Old Moses's. Same Old Moses bourbon is a 4-grain bourbon whiskey aged 4 years, then double-barreled in new American white oak, emphasizing the character that, like Moses, remains unwavered in its pursuit of perfection. All nations welcomed.
Huh. I bet those last 3 words, all nations welcomed. I wonder what the hell that's about. I mean, 1889, roughly, 23-ish years after the Civil War was over. Heads down to Oklahoma, southern state. His name's Moses. He could have been an immigrant or a son of immigrants. So all nations welcomed.
Or Native American.
Native American, yeah, because they identify as nations, you know. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Just Oklahoma's different, and I'm looking forward to this because I bet it's going to be different. On the nose, it's different already. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at, what is this? 101? No,
This is 100.
100 proof. Well, actually, let's get some on the nose. What do we got? This has got something different on the nose than I'm used to smelling. What the hell is that?
Just reading it through on the tasting notes, it has tobacco, rich leather, and smoke. Those are not common in a lot of the bourbons.
There's something on this. Maybe that's just because it's from the it's double aged like this, double barrel.
Maybe.
Huh. Yeah, so it's got,
That corn and the rye are definite, prominent.
yeah, they're right up there in the front. And it's got after being double barreled in oak, I would expect it to have more of an oak on the nose. Some whiskeys, bourbons or whatever that we smell, they're so damn oaky.
Right.
From nose to toes. It's like, holy shit. This just smells like I don't know if cacophony is the right word, but maybe a cornucopia of smells. And it smells deep, like there's like a deep raisin, a deep corn smell.
Good amount of caramel.
Yeah. Yeah, the sweetness is a rich kind of sweetness. It's not like the white sugar smell to it, but I don't know. Maybe we're getting into the weeds on this and we just need to get it on the palate.
Definitely some dried fruit.
Yeah. I don't know if I had something on my lip already and it was sweet.
That definitely is spicy sweet.
Was that sweet on the palate, like
Yeah.
right off the bat for you?
Yep.
Like it's got syrup in it or something?
Kind of. Definitely was sweet.
I thought maybe I still had some of the cinnamon sugar from my cinnamon twist from Taco Bell. Fuck. I just ruined my palate.
Taco Bell.
Yo quiero Taco Bell. So I'm here to...
The oak
some
definitely comes through on the palate.
Yeah. It was a
Lot
wave
of oak.
It was a wave of oak, and it's got that 100 proof burn to it.
Yep.
But it was over super quick. For me, it was. Maybe I was busy concentrating like, oh shit, did I just get granulated sugar in my mouth?
There's a little bit of an orange zest to it. Nose and palate.
Yeah, it's like a citrusy, like an orange caramel. There's thick is the wrong word. It's not as thin and light as say the straw gold scotches that we've had. But it's definitely bourbon thick. It's bourbon sweet. It's still got a lot going on the nose. But I can't fully even
I'd say that's
talk about.
maybe a copper, deep amber.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know if they go by the dram or by the bottle, but that bottle is, yeah, it'd be like dark amber or like you said, copper. This is really good. I didn't know what to expect when I picked them up. I really didn't.
I wish the website talked more about the axe. The on the neck, it's got the little metal axe in there. But I'm looking
And we
at
see it on the website, but
it's on the website. But I'm looking at the band that is kind of, it's not bottled in bond, but it's got the band.
Yeah.
It's got a neck band over the topper on there, and then it's got kind of crossed axes in kind of a logo kind of a thing.
Yeah, so this is very, very tasty. And on the finish, it's long and sweet. It's got, you still get some of the caramely corn, kind of like caramel corn on the finish.
That's a great way to describe it, too. It is caramel corn-like.
Yeah, and maybe that's what's going on here on the palate, too. I'm not the biggest fan of caramel corn, but this is really good. You mix caramel corn with rye, and then you drink it. I didn't even think about this. Damn it. Should have had all this written out already. Yeah, actually, we're left to our own devices here on the finish. I see on the notes there's nothing listed.
Yeah, I had no notes for finish.
Okay, so up here on the nose, it says something like you said, tobacco, rich leather, and smoke. but it says clove and nutmeg. I don't think I ever picked that. And the wheat either. I don't think I even picked up any on the wheat.
I was wondering if that unusual note that we got on the nose might have been the wheat.
Well, I mean, we pick up the wheated notes on things like that Tennessee, Kentucky bourbon whiskey. We picked up on it on the Weller Reserve. Those are just two that stick out on the top of my head. Mm-hmm. But just because for me they come out as a kind of a grassy note, so I'm not picking up on that. I don't think at all. So what is this officially? Just same old Moses straight bourbon whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So nose.
Never mind me over here.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm busy over here trying to figure my own shit out here. This is really unique on the nose. I mean, it on the nose. Like I know this is not the one that was aged in a wine cask, but on the nose it smells like a mulled wine or like a mulled cider, like some shit. I got a bottle from IKEA one time, and I swear it was like mulled cider, but it tasted. I can't really describe the taste. It was like a whole shit ton of rotted fruits. All in one little glass, and Molly wanted it for Christmas, and I got it for her. I think it was Christmas, and we tried it, and I was like, "This is awful." Very interesting on the nose. I'm very happy with that. On the palate, just as interested, and the finish is amazing too. All right, so I'm gonna figure this. I didn't know what to expect, and I'm actually kind of blown away by this. What are your first impressions on it?
I like it.
No, that'd be your final impression.
I like it.
With your voice kind of messed up right now, is it anywhere else? Like in the head, in the nose? Like, is it affecting taste?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. So it's just in the voice, and otherwise you feel just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has a very unique flavor to it. There's something definitely unique to it.
It's got to be in that mash bill with the 4 grains.
Yeah.
Or something else in that Oklahoma air as it ages in their
It's got a little bit of a warm hug to it, but does not scald you all the way down.
Yeah, it says here the final line on the back of the bottle says, "There's nothing same old about same old Moses," or same old Moses.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm very happy with this bottle presentation. Looks good to me. I mean, composite cork. It's got like the extra ridge up here at the long neck.
It's a slightly unique shaped bottle.
Yeah, it's shaped like it reminds me of the hand bells, the hand bells from like a handbell choir.
The choir. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So it's kind of shaped like that.
I did those in middle school.
Did you? Yeah. Okay. So to me, I was thinking about that on the way over here. I'm like, well, it's actually kind of bell shaped. Like the once it gets down here into the body of the bottle, not the neck, but the body, it's actually more shaped like a bell than what I would usually call,
because it's flared out and not straight up and down.
A bell-styled whiskey bottle. I don't have anything close to us, but we've talked about that so many times. Plus, I like the little axe on the elastic thing here. I like the strip here with the logo and the wooden topper.
Yeah, I really wish, like I said off air earlier, I wish there was a little bit more about the axe.
Yeah, like
the website actually.
What does it mean?
Yeah, and I pulled open the website here on my tablet. When I pull it open on my browser on my laptop, it's actually animates.
Oh,
so when it first loads, it actually goes whoosh and like kind of rotates around, and then as you scroll down the page, it kind of moves up the page with that. But inside Total Wine, I saw this earlier today, and they did not have the little axe on the neck.
Well, shit. All right. Well, I'm going to give that a decent score on the bottle presentation. Then I need to figure my math. I need to mathificate. We take this and just divide it by 2, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a bad score. Well, what did you give it on the nose?
I gave it 3 3/4.
3 3/4. With all that shit going on there, you rated it under a 4. Okay, all right. I gave it a 4.5 because I was splendidly happy with it. I was wowed by it, actually.
It's interesting. Now that my glass is empty, there's a lot more of a kind of a burnt toffee
Okay.
on
So
the nose.
we recently, as of time of recording, we recently did an advent calendar, maybe Scotch, I think it was, and you called it cereal, and I called it oatmeal.
Yeah.
I especially smelled the oatmeal after my dram was empty, and I was smelling my empty dram all the way up the stairs to go into the kitchen and wash it out to try another one. I totally picked up on the oat after that, but I could pick up a hint of it on either the nose or the palate. I was getting a little confused. Like sometimes in the notes it says cereal, but to me cereal's like fucking Corn Pops or
Right.
or we talked about Cocoa Pebbles, like the best cereal ever. Second only to Fruity Pebbles, in my opinion. How about the palate?
Palate gave it a 4.
4? That's a solid number. I gave it a 4.5. How about the finish?
4.25.
4.25. Yeah, I gave it a 4.5. And so I gave it nose palate finish 4.5. How about bottle presentation? I mean, what do you think of this? It's interesting, but do you like it? Do you love it?
I think it's a great looking bottle. I only gave it a 3.75.
Okay. Seems kind of low to me.
But part of that is I feel like I've given a lot of things 4 and above lately.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I
So-
thought maybe we should revisit at least that one category.
Yeah.
Like what is an
makes a
average
4?
bottle? What
Yeah.
makes a 4? What makes a 3.75? What makes a 5? I mean, if Booker's is the quintessential 5, then Blanton's, even in a bag and in a box, would presentation wise probably rate closer to Crown Royal than
Except for,
we would want it to.
I was getting ready to say, except for it is a unique bottle, but technically Crown Royal
Crown Royal is
is
super
a unique. Yeah.
It's it doesn't have a cool little horse and rider on it, but it's definitely got its Crown Royal logo and all that stuff on there. And Crown Royal is something I don't think we've ever talked about on the podcast.
We haven't. And maybe we need to.
Maybe, yeah, and it made me think maybe we need to visit Canadian whiskeys, like specifically.
Yeah.
So let's keep an eye out on that one for the future.
I will say that when it comes to Crown Royal, I am a fan of the XO.
I haven't had that. I've only had the original and the peach and the apple and the vanilla. That's all I've had, I think. Well, overall, what was your overall score?
7 7/8.
7 7/8. I gave it a full point lower, or a full point higher, at 8 7/8. So this is, to me, a very surprising bourbon. I walked in here with low expectations because, one, never heard of it. Two,
Right.
I've been to certain parts of Oklahoma that are completely underwhelming. The liquor store I bought this from, while she was very nice and had lots of questions and was very excited to hear what we thought about it on the podcast, it was just your average liquor store. It wasn't really anything special, I don't think. But, I mean, it's not like you walk in and there's just aisle after aisle of all this amazing stuff.
Sure.
They had a fair amount of stuff. Yeah, I brought you a beer from there. Oklahoma-based, or maybe even a Tulsa, Oklahoma-based beer that you liked, I think.
Yep.
What's this down at the bottom of the label? It says, "Except carry." What does that mean? Did I read that right? Is that the right word?
It says except carry. There's an asterisk next to it, too.
Huh.
At the top it says, all nations welcomed.
Except carry.
Except carry.
Carry. So now there's a little bit of mystery with it.
Guthrie, Oklahoma.
How intriguing. So yeah, I didn't really walk into this with any real expectations. I wanted to experience it for what it was and just kind of, go from there. So I was expecting to be underwhelmed, is what I was expecting.
I think it's a solid
Just
4.
to be brutally honest. But yeah, this turned out to be a very solid pour. Very, very unique, interesting, lots of stuff going for it. I would definitely recommend this. So now it looks like we're about to switch over to the same old Moses Straight Bourbon Whiskey Ruby Port Cask finished.
And I would think with this one, we should have very similar things going on with the addition to the elements that port cask brings to it.
Yeah.
Does that one say except carry on the back also?
Well, let's see.
Yes, it does.
It does, doesn't it?
What does
Yeah.
that mean?
What does it mean? There's no asterisks anywhere else on the label. Literally anywhere else. So weird. So weird. Now I have more questions. This was 101 proof?
Yes. And yeah, the difference between this one and the regular is this is still 4-year, aged in New American Oak Barrel, which is a requirement to be a bourbon.
Yeah.
And then it is finished an additional 14 months
Yeah.
in seasoned ruby port cask. And apparently, as a result, it comes out to 101 proof instead of 100.
Yeah. Well, the color, we looked at it. It's definitely a raisiny red. It looks, actually, we were talking about the Von Payne earlier.
Yeah,
It-
it's very similar to that.
Yeah, the Von Payne Black. It looks like it's infused with red currants.
Yeah.
Very interesting looking.
And the notes classify this one as a rich amber, but I think that's more
A red amber.
a ruby raisin kind of a.
But, who are we?
Who are we?
We're just a couple guys sitting in Savor the Burn studios, doing our little podcast,
Is that
having fun.
a plum on the nose?
I don't know. I'm about to find out, though.
Fuck around and find out.
But fuck around, find out. JHW dose. All right. So yeah, that is definitely pretty. I'm gonna reset my sniffer real quick. For all you Aerosmith fans that are a big fan of Sweet Emotion, no, that's not sugar packets. That's coffee beans and a ramekin. All right, let's see how that did. You picking up anything else than plum? Huh. This one smells less winey than the other one did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like, malt vinegar, like you get from Long John
okay.
Silver's.
Okay.
In the packet. It's got, like you said, some plum. Maybe, what's the sweet in there? Is that like a burnt brown sugar? It's not honey. It's not white sugar. Huh. It's got something sweet on there. Maybe toffee.
Yep, I can see that.
Like we talked about peanut brittle earlier. Maybe it's that. Yeah, let's get some on the palate. That's really good. You
All
work
right.
that. You work that to the back parts of your tongue, way back there. Let that roll around. The port comes through on this, and it seems
Definitely.
like that one extra hit of proof shines harder on this one than it did on the first one. But this is
Yeah.
still very interesting. It's a lot more direct and to the point somehow, which is weird because it's aged longer. I don't know. Is that weird or is that normal? And the finish has a kind of a sugary, sweet, lingering finish to it. Mm-hmm. And a warmth. It's warm. It's like wine warm. You drink wine, and it's warm. Which I wouldn't think that this would have a whole lot of wine in it, but it kind of tastes like it does.
This says Same Old Moses Ruby Port Finish Bourbon is a 4-grain bourbon whiskey aged 4 years, then double barreled in aged ruby port barrels, blending rich aromas of tart cherry, toffee, and chocolate, while emphasizing the character that, like Moses, remains unwavered in its pursuit of perfection.
I didn't pick up on tart cherry, maybe toffee. I don't think I picked up on chocolate.
Yeah,
Aromas?
This one I definitely did not pick up on chocolate.
I'm still not picking up on the chocolate. I remember we opened up that, it was one of the first balcones that we opened up.
Oh, the Balcones Rye.
The rye.
The Texas Rye.
It's right off the top, it smelled like chocolate.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit. I didn't know whiskey could smell this good.
Let alone rye.
Yeah. Yeah, rye's pretty off-putting to some folks, like it was to you for a long time. I feel like this would be this one and the original would be great for beginners. Somebody
I'd
looking
agree with that.
Somebody looking to get into bourbon.
It reminds me, where were we at? We were somewhere.
Who's we?
The family.
Okay.
Katie, Henry, and I. I think we were at somewhere Mexican restaurant because I think it was salsa that we had. But they usually bring you out the standard mild, and then they'll do like a medium, and then if you ask for it, you get the hot. That day, I didn't ask for the hot, which I do from time to time because I do like hot salsa, but. So we just had just the regular mild and their medium. We're at the point now where we're just starting to let him have crispy things like tortilla chips.
Yeah.
You're supposed to wait till they're 4 to introduce them to chips, things that have sharp edges and that are crunchy. And so we've started letting him have chips when we're out at restaurants or whatever, and I'll never forget, he's watching us dipping the salsa and whatever. And so, we're trying to get him to understand the difference between zesty and spicy, and then the difference between spicy and spice.
Okay.
Right. And so we're working on him on, the difference between zesty and spicy and all that. And so we're like, it's a little spicy, it's zesty, but I will always remember him dipping this chip down in there, taking a bite, and then doing the little, the head twitch and the pushing the lips together of his first taste of any kind of a salsa. And then he immediately dipped another chip in the salsa. Mm-hmm. And he just kept doing this over and over again. That little bit of a spice to his new developing palate was outweighed by the fact that he just couldn't resist.
It hurts.
It hurts so good.
That's really cool.
So we got a big kick out of just watching him just relive that same moment over and over and over again.
That's pretty cool. As a kid, I always steered away from it. Like, why would I want to eat something that's actively trying to hurt me and succeeding every time I eat it? But then I got older and I thought, yeah, it's spicy, but this really does taste good. Like, I really did like the taste of jalapenos. Mm-hmm. But
no, I love
a lot of people say, well, jalapenos are the starter pepper or whatever, and they're bitter. But I never really noticed the bitterness of them so much as the taste, especially if they're pickled and you throw that on nachos.
A little bit of a vinegary.
Yeah, the vinegary stuff. Mm-hmm. And I do not like vinegar. I just don't. That's what it is. The other one, the original Same Old Moses straight bourbon whiskey, it's just that balsamic vinegar is kind of what it smelled like. Now this one. Did you still have... Okay, you got about as much as I do, maybe a little more. Are you picking up something different on the nose now? It's just raisiny sweet smell.
Yeah, it's very much so a raisin kind of a sweetness.
Actually, what does it say in the notes? I haven't even looked at them. Nose aroma, fragrant notes of deep red fruit, plum, and toffee burst.
No, we said both of those, plum and toffee.
Yeah. Flavor, taste, palate. Palate is where we're at. Distinct orange peel. Not sure I picked up on that. Did you? You might have.
On the first one I did.
Tobacco and caramel notes rounded with a smooth, smoked port finish. Maybe I didn't pick up on the smoke either. I've got a lot of work to do on my palate, let me tell you. Finish smooth, warm, and full mouthfeel with a deep, long, flavorful finish. That one, I think we both called that one. Mm-hmm. Smooth, warm. I said, what did I use to describe it? Not thick, but thick. Thick. I like my whiskey like I like my women. Thick. I like my bourbon, I should say. I like my bourbon like I like my goth chicks and fishnets. Thick. THICC. Thick. Yeah, yesterday, I think it was, I was at work and I'm, next to a buddy of mine and coworker, whatever. We're friends. We call each other brothers. Anyway, I said, I could really use a high five right now. And he looks at me and I said, from a goth chick in fishnets. When I say high five, I mean hand gibber. With spit. And he's just cracking up laughing. And I said, and gusto. Oh, it was funny. I guess you had to be there. What'd you give this on the nose?
I came up a little bit. I'm on even 4.
That's right where I'm at. Even 4. How about the palate?
I stayed the same, right at 4.
Okay. Did you come up on the finish?
I stayed the same on the finish. 4.25.
All right. I gave it a 4.25. How about bottle presentation?
I left it the same, 3 and
Okay.
3.75.
So what did your overall score turn out to be?
An even 8.
Even 8. All right. Whoops. So yeah, guess I need to write this down here.
I think on this bottle presentation, I love a good branding identity. I love a good brand system where you can just look across multiple offerings until they all belong together. Mm-hmm. And I love what they've done on the labels on this, but you pointed out, and I completely agree to you, aside from a color difference, you almost have to, there's so much information going on the label. Mm-hmm. It really takes a second, third look to see where it actually says Ruby Port finished cask. Mm-hmm. Ruby Port cask finished. Say that correctly. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, even though I appreciate leveraging the same layout in the label design, I feel like that if a user has to take a second, third look in order to see which variation this bottle is, that's kind of a miss. Mm-hmm. And so I think that plays into the reason why I went ahead and docked this down to 3.75.
So you were kind of turned off by all the information on it, like Chandler would have been.
Kind of.
There's just so much going on here. It distracts you from the actual information.
Yeah,
I guess now that I look at it, the neck labels here are kind of peeling off a little bit. It happens. Whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it.
I appreciate all the information that's on there, but I just think that, they're using color of the label to distinguish one offering from another, which is a great Weller as an example. I love how Weller does that across the board. Mm-hmm. The dark hunter green is their standard.
It's almost like Old Moses took a cue from what Weller does.
However, their only distinction as to what this is this little bitty kind of badge over on the corner that says,
it's almost like an afterthought.
Ruby Port, barrel finished. And so, yeah, it's to me, it's just not quite enough. I would have liked, down here in the bottom where it says 4-grain straight bourbon whiskey, I would have liked them to have reworked this to incorporate 4-grain Ruby Port barrel finished.
Yeah.
Whatever down there, so that as you're reading the label and the brand on there, you're going, oh, yeah, this is their port cask.
Yeah. And, dear listener, if you want to know what we're talking about, you can check out our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok and see exactly what it is we're talking about. Or just Google it. You could always Google it. Or go to savorthebourbon.com/liquor cabinet. Always evolving. Always being upgraded. Sometimes our liquor cabinet needs rearranged. And Mr. W2 is always on point with that. Always making sure things are updated the right way.
Yeah,
which I appreciate.
I'm excited about the new piece that I'm still working on. I've implemented some things, but I'm still ironing out the wrinkles, so to speak. But the way I had it before, I had it set up to where I could flag something as a feature, and it would appear in the top 3. Which I liked having that. And that
would be the most recent things.
Honestly, I was just using it as what I wanted at the top of the list.
Okay.
But I've decided that it might be better to do it where, because we're capturing our ratings on all of these, why not have them display on there by rating? And so I've got them sorted by rating with the highest ratings at the top of the list.
Okay.
But I'm not displaying until you click on it and then see what our individual ratings are. I don't have that designated anywhere yet. And so I'm working on taking our overall ratings, combining them, and then averaging those together and using that combined average to list them out. So I'm working on a way to kind of show what the Savor the Burn overall rating is in the liquor cabinet.
That makes sense, and that helps give the listener a good insight as to how it is that you're organizing these things for sure. So before I get into my thoughts on it, which I've pretty much already talked about earlier, I posted a picture of these 2 bottles in the Whiskey Tribe. If you're a fan of Whiskey Tribe on YouTube, they have a Facebook group, and it's full of like-minded people. They call them magnificent bastards. And we're all on there talking about our different whiskeys and bourbons and things. And so I posted a picture of these. I said, I got these bottles a few months ago in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Finally going to try them tonight. Anybody here had the same old Moses? Thoughts? And Tim says, that is a fine picture.
Why,
thank you, Tim. I do appreciate that feedback. I hope one day people are going to catch on to what we're doing. And the one of the admins for the group on the Kansas City Whiskey Guild, I posted the same thing over there. And Nancy says, great pour. Hope you enjoyed them. So she finds them both,
all right.
I would assume, to be a great pour. And I do find them to be great myself. Not just good, but great. In fact, what I wrote down here, great candidates for a beginner whiskey / bourbon. Share it with your would-be beginners today.
I like it.
That's it. That's what we get. That's what we get. So thank you, dear listener, for listening to this episode of the Savor the Burn podcast as we tried 2 offerings from Same Old Moses, their original straight bourbon whiskey and the Ruby Port barrel-finished straight bourbon whiskey. Both of them double-barreled, both of them at or 1 point over 100 proof. And, going by my score, I like the original better, but I like them both a lot. I gave them both the first one got an almost 9 score. The other one got a little over 9, 8 3/8. 8 3/8 and 8 7/8. So take that as you will. So if you're looking for a bourbon,
Wait, say that again.
what? I don't know. What did I just say?
Well, you had said one of them was a little over 9, but then you said
I didn't mean to. One of them, I should not have said that. I don't know why I said that. That doesn't make any sense. So one of them was almost 9, and the other one was a little bit over 8.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
Yeah. 3/8 over 8. Maybe that's what happened.
So 3/8 and 7/8.
I was thinking they're almost 9, and then this one, 8, a little bit over 8. I don't know. Sometimes I talk, and I don't know what's going on. Words assemble, some assembly required.
Stupid whiskey.
We're going to talk about that picture here in a minute.
Yes, we
All right.
are.
So until then, dear listener, thank you for listening to this episode of the Savor the Burn podcast. Please continue to check out savortheburn.com. Follow us on all of our socials, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I guess it's Twitter X, or it's just X now, whatever. Facebook for sure. And definitely hit subscribe on our YouTube. We're always uploading things. We're always uploading and maybe even sharing content. And we're always looking for your feedback. You can send us your feedback, info@savortheburn.com, or w2@savortheburn.com, or Jonathan@savortheburn.com. Just send us a fucking email. It would be great. I'd love to hear your feedback, especially if you have tried whatever it is that we are reviewing on the podcast. We didn't get into a rocktail on this, but I think we will when it comes to the cocktail. So stay tuned for the cocktail, and on all of your podcast apps of choice, and we will talk to you soon. But always remember, dear listener, no matter who you are, where you are, what you're drinking, who you're drinking it with, always remember, keep on burning.